Hi, this is Colorful Foresight where we intuitively connect from within. And it's woo woo time where we connect our woo woo into our mundane living. Ugh, maybe I had to speak on it because I just start having a coughing fit. Because I didn't want to say anything because I'm like, this is too woo woo. Even though the channel is the woo woo channel. Now, each week, we've been getting lesson and energy boost up. It sounds so woo woo, but it's the woo woo time channel. I have to speak on it. Clean my resistance. Must be a lot of resistance.
It's woo woo.
Cleaning up.
It's woo woo time. Oh,
a lot of
about
people like,
time.
when they deal with the woo, they don't want to talk about it with others. But I feel like what we've been into that would once considered woo woo is more mainstream. So we should keep pushing the button of the woo woo. We have a video, maybe I'll put it up here somewhere, where Angela talked about getting her first sacred honey. I mean, that could be
manifesting woo-woo. From what? From the unseen. You talk about the unseen all the time. What do you think they're doing in the unseen?
Right.
We've got magic. We don't have.
And in front of the picture of the compassionate light. Compassionate light is like any form that your divine is, whatever's your personal divine. Then the ultimate goal is to make everybody enlightenment. Not just one, not the few, not just the 74,000.
Yeah. Next year, there's a point where there's a special alignment with the universe. So Earth is going to align with the universe in a certain formation that allows us as a species to make a huge leap if we get enough of the population enlightened to a certain level.
If you notice, the last few years been extra divisiveness. So once that golden age come in, we're going to have people fall in love with each other. We're going to have people from family members that divided because one is Democrat and one Republican go back together in unity. It's all related. So anything come to mind?
It's been, what do you call, fermenting. So there was something I came across yesterday that it did disturb me. It was from a New Age source on the internet. And there's a lot of groups now talking about coming together as one. But in this particular book that they were sharing, which is being read by a lot of people in a spiritual network, they mentioned that that a certain percentage of the population will make it to 5D and they'll ascend, but then the rest will just disappear. And every fiber of my being went, you're okay with that? You're okay with certain people just disappearing and their consciousness going into the non-physical realms and just being unfulfilled? So enlightenment's not for me. It's not for you. It's for everybody. And I think that's one message that's not clear. I think people think spiritual work is only for the monks or the spiritual people in the world. No, enlightenment, the whole reason that we're here as a species is to grow, to evolve into a sacred species, into a sacred planet. And it's not just about humans, it's about every living, existing thing in the physical realm on this earth becoming sacred. That's every single human. And I think one of the myths or illusions of spiritual community I wish to dissolve is that myth that only certain people will ascend or make it. I don't understand why people think like that, but it's part of the separation thing that only certain Democrats are good or only certain Republicans are worthwhile. I don't care who you are. We're all here to evolve. We're just different vibrations, and that's it.
Right, because the divine in the bigger picture, they're able to see beyond all the good and bad and all that.
Yeah. That some people suddenly get enlightened, and you're like looking at it like, what am I, chopped liver? I mean, but people don't understand. Murderers in the past got enlightened. Some of the people who worked with Buddha were murderers.
Exactly.
I mean, a murderer can be enlightened. Malcolm X was in jail having these mystical downloads, and he didn't murder anyone, but he was in prison and he got enlightened.
You're saying like he was like, this leader thing. Wasn't like he was in the mountain meditating. That's what you're saying.
No,
yeah.
Like people got to get with it. It's not about identity politics or who you are. It's about coming together as one. And this is the thing in the spiritual community that I really think needs to be spoken of. And I was quite disturbed last night before I went to sleep, and I read this book, which is being read by a lot of people. And I thought,
don't mention the book.
Why would you say that? Why would you say if they don't ascend, it's okay? I think that thinking is destructive, and it's part of the negative element of our consciousness, the human consciousness, that's completely fine with some people being destroyed. I think that's a destructive part of our human nature, and that's what we're evolving. But then the final piece was getting people over to share. Because sometimes I think spiritual people, we do a lot of things in isolation, and it's not about that anymore. You've got to really be with people and give and ask people to give you feedback, and also just sharing. My partner's always about that. I need to share more and share. He shares with me and he wants to share. I think we've become isolated and selfish, basically. So we need to do that more, because that then gives you more confirmation, and you're not thinking inside, it's outside of you.
I'm glad you said that, because I've been telling my divine, look, I know I'm being selfish. I don't want to talk about stuff like this, but I feel okay to do it because it's woo-woo time. When this is the best time to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what it is in spiritual work? We had believed and then found out it's fake. Like if I seen an image and it looked like an orb or something, and then you find out it was like the lighting from the camera. So a lot of time when those things happen, it knocks down the beliefs. But that's the world. We have to, sometimes stuff like that will happen. But it doesn't mean we don't experience the miraculous. And I realized that our mind is playing that game. The reason why a lot of us see, I was told, I don't know who, we see like a spark from the side of our eyes, because our mind is not really active from that angle. But if it shows up in front of us, our mind could wipe it out.
Very interesting.
It's kind of like saying, I don't know if it's related, maybe it can help me. Like we have spirit around us. Now they have cameras that they could show the body heat. On camera, it shows the orb coming through. Like sometimes we actually see the form, but with our eyes, we're not able to see it. But what if they could come up like what we come on the camera? We might be blocking it at this evolution in time, maybe eventually. What do you think when you hear that?
What I think a lot of people don't understand is that each culture, each land, each city has a certain density of vibration. So in India, for thousands of years, they've had people come who are light beings. They had, I think I'm getting the name right, Sri Ramalinga. He's recorded in British history. He was a walking light being. He could not be photographed. Now, that culture and that area of India was enabling that. The land, the history of the place, people, the history of the land and the culture enabled that to happen there. If we had a light being walking down my street here, that's not going to happen, because the culture is our thoughts here. It's the land energy as well. It's not going to happen because of the history of the land and the culture and the thoughts. So people don't get how that works quite yet. If you look at the movie The Matrix, it's all there. Our thoughts create the vibration of our reality. And when Neo learns how to bend so that he can feel the bullets coming and he knows what to do, he's in the Matrix doing that. But we can't do that yet. We're still stuck in our thoughts that make this matrix of our environment. So that's why in India, certain things have been happening for thousands of years. They have cities that fly. They have people doing all sorts of things in India that we don't have. So we just are not at that vibration in
Yet.
certain places.
Wow, it's just mind-boggling. It makes sense because they talk about light years away and, how they are light years away. But as much as I like to imagine that, we have to be right here in the moment. And so I want to end this woo-woo time with a see you later.
Bye.
That was really interesting.